Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sari and you are watching my knitting podcast. It took me longer than I expected to upload a new video. The last one was in June and it's already the end of July. I don't know where this summer has gone. I've been on a holiday for the past month and we've been traveling around, so I haven't really had time to sit down and record anything new. Or actually, I did record one new episode, but then I didn't have time to edit it and upload it, and by the time I had chance to start working on it, everything was already kind of like outdated. That's the word I was looking for. So it was outdated by the time I had time to start editing it. So I decided that there's no point of me telling you that I'm going on a holiday in a couple of days when I had already been on the holiday for 1 week. So I decided to discard that video altogether and make a new one when I got back home. Actually, I was going to make a new video during our trip. We went to Greece, but the video or the internet connection was really bad there, and so I decided to give up on that idea and make the video when I get back home. So anyway, I'm going to make this newest episode in 2 parts and upload them separately, so I don't have to sit the whole evening and trying to edit it at once. And in this first part I'm going to be talking about everything that happened before we went to Greece, and then after, in the second part, I will talk about our holiday and everything I knitted there. But let's just recap back to my previous episode, and I think I was talking about our trip to Helsinki, and I went to the yarn shop called Snurre, and also I was knitting the Fibre company beta knitting. Not test knit. All the time I'm going to say test knit, but it's not test knit, but beta knitting team project. And before we went to Greece, I finished the sweater, and I still can't show you the whole thing. I can't remember the date that the whole collection and the new yarn called Lore is going to launch, but it's in the early autumn, so I have finished the whole sweater. It's here. I had some trouble with the sleeves, but finally they worked out. It was my first time knitting the kind of sleeve where you first start by making these little squares and then pick up stitches for front and back between these squares, and then lastly pick up stitches along the little square, the shoulder square, and the armhole to make the sleeves. So I had some trouble with that, but finally it worked out, and here is the sweater. I still haven't had time to block it because I finished it just before our holiday and we came back. Now it's Monday, we came back on Friday, but on Saturday and Sunday we went to visit my parents and my husband's parents in our hometown, and we only came back yesterday evening, so it's still unblocked. But this yarn, I really like it. It's really warm, and I like these rustic kinds of breed specific yarns, so this is a real treat coming your way when the whole collection and the yarn launches. But I will show you more when when the collection is out, and I can tell you more details, and you will see me wearing this as well. What else has happened? Oh yeah, we went to Jyväskylä Knit Festival. It was held during the first weekend of July in Jyväskylä. That is a town in the central Finland, and there's a yarn shop called Lankakauppa Titityy, yarnshop Titityy, which is probably the biggest yarn shop in Finland, selling these like luxury or more luxurious yarns. And they are hosting every summer a knit festival, and this is the second time I took part or attended it. And usually the festival lasts from Thursday until Sunday, and they have all kinds of workshops and get-togethers. But last year and this year as well, we only went on Saturday, and I think it was quite enough to see all the vendors and see what yarns they were selling, and also meeting a lot of new people. There were podcast meets and also meeting other knitter friends that I have met on social media. So that was really great. For example, I finally got the chance to meet Mimi, who is live on Instagram, and she has the Yarn Chicks podcast. So it was really amazing to meet her in person, and I hope we will meet again very soon. Since last year, when we went to Jyväskylä Knit Festival, the yarn shop Titityy, they had moved to another location. It was the same yard, but in another building. So they had more room, and they had such a beautiful space for their shop. If you happen to be traveling around Finland, if you happen to be anywhere near Jyväskylä, take the detour, go to visit Titityy. It's really worth the trip. It was worth driving 3 hours, almost 3.5 hours in the morning to Jyväskylä, and then another 3.5 hours back. We even had some little car trouble on the way with a fallen exhaust pipe, and the last hour to Jyväskylä and the whole way back to Vaasa, I was sitting on the back seat with the fallen exhaust pipe. And let me just say that we didn't really discuss about anything during the way back. The noise of the car was pretty spectacular. It was quite loud. But anyway, it was still worth the trip to see Titityy's new location. They have so many beautiful yarns: Labian Amy, Madeline Tosh, Brooklyn Tweed, Skein Queen, everything, like everything you can imagine. And of course they are the home of Tuku wool, so they are carrying all the colorways of Tuku wool in their shop. It's situated in an old wooden house, so even the space is really beautiful, old windows, a lot of light, so very nice place. I really liked it, and I want to go there soon again. And also what was different about this year rather than last year, I think last year the main focus was on the yarn vendors and people selling and buying yarn, but this year they had managed to make the community more important, so there were more place to sit and more place to knit, and there was really a really nice cafe. People were buying coffee and wine and food and just sitting outside and knitting. And also there was a DJ playing, and the whole atmosphere was really nice and relaxed, and you just wanted to sit there and spend the whole afternoon. We even stayed longer this time. Last year we left home quite early, but this time we were home, I think it was something like 11 p.m. When we were back in Vaasa. So that was something that they had really succeeded with, the community thing and people sitting and knitting together. So that was really fun. The only thing I'm regretting is that I didn't take part of any of the courses. There was a course held by Isabel Kramer and by Stephen West, but the thing I'm regretting the most is there was a how to hand dye yarn class by Julie Asselin, and that's something that I was really interested in. But if they're coming again next year, I'm most definitely going to take part of that course. I really want to see how that whole thing. I would really want to see how they do it, what the procedures are. I'm not really interested in starting to dye yarn for like business, but for myself, it would be really nice to know the techniques behind that line of work. I bought a couple of skeins. I was going to buy yarn, black yarn for a cardigan, but I didn't really find the kind I wanted, and everything that I liked, they didn't have enough for a big cardigan goat. So I decided to order that online later. But I really fell in love with Tulliver yarns. These colors, they are pure wool, and they are naturally dyed. So this colorway is called Plum, and this colorway is called Bond. And they were sitting on the table next to each other, and I loved them together. Both of the colorways are really beautiful. This is like this watery green, grayish, and this, like the name says, plum, it's plum colored purple. And I was planning to make a cowl or a hat for my son for winter with these two. So I really like them. The yarn is really soft, even though it's pure wool. It's not at all ticklish or pricklish, so I think my son will really like, or I hope my son will like. He usually doesn't really like anything I make for him, but I hope he likes these. And also I bought one skein of queen fiber from Stephen and Penelope. It was called, the colorway was called Hurricane, and it's their merino single base. I already used the yarn, so I can't show you the skein, but these are the rests. So it's this kind of multicolored yarn with orange and dashes of lime green and purple and bluish, so many colors, quite crazy I think, but I really like it. So this is something I also bought from the festival. But I have to show you what was my favorite project of the trip. No, not project, but purchase of the trip. As soon as I saw this new French field pack, on Instagram. I knew I had to have it, and I saw that Ilo Finland was selling it, so I bought it for myself, and I'm so happy I did. This is so beautiful. I took it with me to Greece, and it traveled me around there. So if you haven't looked at my Instagram pics, go to my Instagram page and you can see this in ancient ruins and sitting by the beach and so on, many different places. It has already traveled quite a lot to Helsinki, to Jyväskylä, to my hometown, to Greece and around the island where we were. But yeah, this is my favorite new thing at the moment, and it's so beautiful. I would have also wanted to buy the tote bag that says bury me with yarn and needles and I shall rest in peace, but that was already out of stock at the festival. But they said that they will be getting a new batch of them soon, so I have to just place an order and I will have my own tote bag. But that's pretty much everything that has happened lately. Also, I finished this tank top. This is the first of my Summer of Basics projects. I haven't even started the second two, so I'm getting a bit anxious about that. I only have one more month to make 2 more basic items for my Summer of Basics projects, but I'm pretty confident I can finish in time, as I was thinking about sewing them, so I'm hoping that takes a bit less time than knitting. But this is knitted with Knitting for Olives pure silk, and the colorway is called Kit, and it has this slight v-neck and a little bit of garter stitch here on the front, and so show you the sides. There's this side panel of the garter stitch, and at the moment I'm writing the pattern for this, and I'm hoping to get it to ready for test knitting next week. So I already know there are quite many of you who are anxious to test knit this for me, so this is coming soon. But this is the first part of my knitting podcast this time, and I will start immediately recording the second part and telling you about our trip to Greece. And I have quite a lot of other finished projects and also WIPs, works in process, to show you. But one more thing, remember back when I was making the episode about submissions, and I asked you if you wanted me to film a video about my how I make submissions, and what that actually means if you are a starting knitwear designer. What does it mean to make a submission, and what you need to have in the submissions. And back in, I can't remember if it was the end of April or beginning of May, there was the call for submissions for the Fibre company and for their indie designer program. So they were offering yarn support for indie designers, and I sent out 2 submissions for that one. and I got selected, or one of my designs got selected for the Indie Designer program. So while I was making the submissions, I filmed what I did, and I was going to make a little tutorial about how I make submissions, and also I'm going to show you how to make swatches and how I start the designing work. So if that is something you are interested, I'm hoping to get out the first part of that little mini series later this week here on YouTube. But now this is the end of first part of my July knitting recap, and just wait for the second part. It's gonna be good. Bye!